Welcome to the I Birth Legends podcast, where we spotlight those who have and will shape the grace of our time. This podcast was created by my lovely and beautiful mother, Stacia Mack, and who better to interview her than me, her firstborn, Leilani Bartlett. So let's get into it.
Thank you. I love to be here, Leilani. It's a pleasure for you to interview me. Kind of weird sitting on this side, but I cannot imagine who else I would want to interview me than the lovely Leilani. So, for those of you who don't know, like I don't know where you've been, but I'm Stacia Mack, mom and manager to recording artist Polo G, and I have been his manager for the past 2 years. It's been a long ride, but a very successful one in a short time, and I'm eager to share my journey with you.
Okay, so where are you from?
I'm from Chicago, the Windy City, where you're bound to see the coldest.
Okay, the lyric drop. Okay, so how do you think that being from Chicago molded and shaped your family to who they are?
I say it, and I know it's probably cliche, but if you can make it in Chicago, you can make it anywhere. People in Chicago are very driven. People in Chicago are very big on respect. And while Chicago gets a bum rap, Chicago creates so many great people because of the struggle that's around Chicago, because so many want to escape their reality or their unfavorable reality. They work 10 times harder to become the person that they want to be. So I wouldn't change it for anything. I do love Chicago, and I feel that it made me the person that I am today because I had to put more into it coming from where I come from.
Definitely. So how many children do you have?
I have 4 wonderful children. My oldest is Leilani. You might know her. Polo G. My son, Torian, be on the lookout for him. T-Baby is his rap name, and we got something coming for you because I birthed legends. And then my youngest is Leia, the Leia Monroe. She's an influencer. And I can't forget Tremonti. He's horrible, but I love him.
So who's your favorite?
My favorite? No comment.
Okay. So how did you mix, like, you have 4 children.
Correct.
So you are dealing with 4 different personalities.
Correct.
So how did you manage juggling 4 different personalities and all 4 different interests? Like, what were your children interested in growing up?
So it was, I won't say that it was easy to manage them, but my children are very vocal because I encourage it, and they let me know what they need from me, and they're very vocal, and I provide. My oldest has always been an entrepreneur ever since she was young and bossy, and I fostered that from us creating grants early on to jumpstart a body positivity clothing line. My son, initially I wanted him, Polo, to be a state's attorney, right? And everybody like, why attorney for the state? Well, I felt that it was important to tackle the disparities from the inside, you know? And he turned around and said that he wanted a career in music, and him having a career in music, I said, okay, well, you know, plan your work and work your plan. You have a year, and less than 6 months he was signed. And then my youngest, he's always been great. My youngest son has always been great in everything. And this is someone like, in our generation, I don't know if you know him because you're kind of young, but it's Bo. So Bo knows this guy was a pro in everything that he touched. He was pro in baseball, he was playing football, anything Bo did, Bo was exceptional. And that's who I liken him to. And even with him embarking on the rap career, he's exceptional. And then I have my youngest, Leia, who requires the most time because she's a Cancer baby and a diva. And so with her, another one where the sky's the limit. She's 7 and she's writing her vision board and she's manifesting things, sometimes with my credit cards, but you know, I love them all the same. And again, they tell me what they need from me and I just oblige.
So I see how you spoke on like the vision that you saw for your children. And I feel like that's very pivotal in efforts of giving your children guidance. And so if they don't know, you feel me, like you give them the roadmap on where they could possibly end up. So how do you feel about your children expressing their own individuality and figuring out their own path? Like, what do you have to say in regards to parents supporting their children's journeys? Like, even if it's outside of the scope of what they imagine for their children.
So I feel like a lot of parents feel that their children are an extension of themselves and they live vicariously through their children, and they set unrealistic expectations for what they want the life to be. But in all honesty, the only thing that we can do is speak life into our children and support them in what they want to do, as it's their life to live, you know. And when it came to my children, I'm the type of mother that if they say that they want to walk on the moon, I'll buy them a helmet. If they say that they want to go out and they're going to be a cross skier, I'm going to be timing them and I'm going to be behind them. And I'm going to buy some damn Alaskan Huskies. But I'm that mother, and I always have been. And I can vividly remember my children embarking on some, you know, wild stuff and people looking on and like, why would you? Why not? I feel that our children are so many times told what they can't do. Our children are always reinforced with limitations, and that's something that I never wanted for my children.
What made you feel like your children were different? When you come from impoverished communities, low income communities, broken homes, broken families, generational curses, trauma, what made you feel like this was something different? What made you feel like, you know, like that God placed his hand on your family?
Well, I'll just say that you said a mouthful, and let's let that sit. There is a lot of trauma inside of where we come from. There are a lot of curses, generational curses. And the reason why I was so willing to give my children more is because I didn't have that. And this is not a shot to my mother, because a lot of times so much happens that we don't have time to heal. So much happens that as the matriarch and as the mother, you're so busy living, existing, providing that you haven't healed so that you can properly mother. So when it came down to me and my children, I wanted to make sure that I gave what I wasn't given. And I didn't hold it against my mother because I understood that she wasn't given it by her mother. But I wanted to break that cycle. And that's what I feel that I've done with my children.
Do you think that it's different as far as raising daughters as it is sons? I know you have 2 daughters, you have 2 sons, the best of both worlds. Like, do you think that it's a cheat code? Is it different? Is it different standards that you put on your boys and you put on your girls? Is it different expectations that you put on them?
I expect all of my children to be great in their own right, and absolutely not. My daughters will be women of stature, of grace and integrity, and the same women that I would want my sons to bring home. And in the same measure, I want my sons to be men, manly men that can provide, and someone that I would want my daughters to see sitting at the table. I feel that a double standard only does a disservice to whatever gender that you're laxed with. And I've never propose that one is greater than the other, one is lesser than the other. And that's why I have children that are so intent on breaking boundaries and just being great.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I'm really loving like the mood of this interview. You know, I got my little cue cards, my little questions, but I just want to take a break from that right quick. Yes. Because, you know, we here.
We know each other.
we here.
We like kind of familiar.
Like, we already know. Like growing up, I watched you, like I came from a community of like broken families and like broken homes. I had parents that were married. I had a mother with a career for herself. Like watching you get up and like you get dressed in your business casual attire and your heels and your business suit. Come on, because people think the dress just got here.
No.
Oh no, they missed the jet. It been here, okay? And just watching you like prepare yourself, it kind of like put me in that mode of having somebody to look up to, having somebody to aspire to be like. So what do you have to say for the mothers who don't necessarily have a career for themselves, who don't necessarily have the direction that they're trying to even instill inside of their children? So what advice would you give to them who don't have pumps to put on, who don't have business casual attire to put on, who don't even have like somewhere to go to work?
Yes.
You know, what do you have to inspire them?
The work, and it's not always a proverbial physical place. Sometimes the work is within, the work is spiritual, the work is emotional. It takes absolutely nothing for you to speak life into your children. When it comes down to parenting, that's the most important and sometimes thankless job that you have. But if you weren't given the roadmap, if you weren't given the tools necessary, then you have to build the damn house on what you want it to have. You have to make sure that you instill those things in your children that you wanted, or you will repeat this cycle. And a lot of times that's what we see. I feel that there's no difference inside of our communities that there are in others, not to be ignorant, but I feel that your thought process and what you gravitate towards and what you focus on is what you welcome. And a lot of times people are gravitating towards the negative. They're gravitating towards the lack instead of focusing on what could be. And that starts inside of the home. A lot of times limitations are put on children in their home. Baby, you're going to be a good old police officer. No shade. Baby, you're going to be a civil servant, or you can be a trash man. Get yourself a city job. Why can't they be a president? Why can't they be a millionaire? Why can't they be an artist? Why can't they be so many things, a politician? Why can't they be things that will mold and shape, the world at large and change the world? I feel like the greatest gift that the person has is their legacy. And a lot of times that's not done by menial jobs. It's by taking the lead, by saying, okay, I'm going to break these standards. I'm going to break these stereotypes. And so many times the world already puts limitations on what our children can be and what they can't be. And we shouldn't have that inside of our own homes. We should break those standards. We should break those stereotypes, and we should make sure that they are not limited and bound by limitations.
Yeah, definitely. The power of manifestation. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that the power of the tongue is very, very real. Like growing up, I remember like you making us do affirmations, you making us feel confident and feeling empowered, even like walking into a world that told us that you feel like that we didn't have the right to feel confident, that we didn't have the right to feel empowered. And I feel like that's a very pivotal step into building a positive self-image about yourself. So I definitely think that that's a great takeaway for a lot of parents and a lot of children like watching this podcast. So you have a very successful son, Polo G.
I have 4 successful children.
Yeah, you do, but I'm talking about a celebrity. You ain't got to sugarcoat it. Okay, we can be here with it. Okay, so how do you feel, the world that comes from broken homes and that comes from, competition and things of that nature. How do you feel about having a son who has fostered his greatness and has gotten the world's approval and recognition? How do you feel about that and your other children being compared to that type of scale? Like, do you still approach them the same way? Is it harder to like push them to succeed, or do you like bypass all of the naysayers and not fall into that stereotype of, oh, this is the one, this is the golden child, like things of that nature?
Honestly, there is none inside of my family. Equally, I hold them to a standard. And the thing about family, when it's not pretentious, when it's not superficial, is that we genuinely want to see each other win. So when I see Polo and I see him stand there and he's on billboards like he said he would be, and he's manifesting this life and mansions and these exotic cars and properties, when I see him doing that, it's amazing. But it does not distract me or detract from the other things that my children are doing. They're all great inside of their own right, and there is no competition when there's love involved in family. And no matter what the situation, we're going to, if I'm going to be there for him at the BET Awards, I'm going to put the same love and encouragement that I would for the bake sale for my 7-year-old. You know what I mean? And that's just how I approach it all. And that's how my family is. It's a family business. When Polo embarked on that, we all did. We were all thrust inside of the spotlight. And when we did so, we all said that we would, from the very beginning, do it as a family, which is why I became the manager, which is why you became the tour manager, brand strategist, which is why Leia blesses every album that he has, which is why Lil Baby is his hype man, which is why his dad is on the tours with him. It is a family business. It is a family brand. We are all encouraging of one another, no matter what it may be. And because he popped off first, he won't pop off last. Yeah,
I definitely asked that question. I knew the answer, of course. But I definitely wanted to ask that question to give clarity and to give insight on the way that our family works. And I feel like the reason why Polo is so successful and the way that God blesses him the way that he does is because of our family values. And a lot of times, people don't understand that love can be genuine. Love can be pure. Love can be like, I love you and I want to see you win without even having to gain anything from it. And a lot of times,
because all my kids cheat.
Yeah, real cheat. I might not look it, but I am it, okay? And then it's like competition is something that is rampant within our community. And you see it all the time.
We don't play that.
People become famous.
No.
And man, you see these cousins, these brothers, everybody comes out the
I just
woodwork.
want everyone to know that I know all of my cousins. I knew them before. I know them now. I'll know it after this interview. Don't come up to me and say you my cousin. You can finish.
I didn't uncousin so many people.
I just wanted to be known because I'm tired of the new cousins.
I'm tired of
That's
them
what
too.
came with celebrity. More cousins, more people begging. And I never would have thought that when celebrity came and knocked at our door, that it would be so many people that were resentful of what
definitely.
our blessing was. And it seemed to me that it were so many people that were closest to us that could have benefited from it. But instead, they looked at our success as a reflection of their
Inadequacies, definitely. And I just wanted to highlight that because we don't view anything as competition. We are always pouring into each other. Like, we have brand meetings where it involves Polo, it involves all of us, like, and we are very hands-on with each other's projects. And so I know that that's not common.
Yes.
That's not often common. And a lot of times another person's success can foster resentment.
Yeah.
And I feel like the only way to really grow is when you are genuinely happy for like others and other people.
There can't be so much receiving. It has to be equally pouring into and receiving when it's a genuine effort and when everybody wins, you know what I mean? And that's the dynamic. That's always been the dynamic, and it always will. And I feel that that's why our family is so successful. It's not pretentious. It's not Hollywood. You know, we're industry, but we was formerly industries. And we keep the same codes, the same ethics, the same loyalty, and nothing changed with us. We love who we are. We know who we are. So just to be able to financially take care of each other didn't change our character, our ethics, and that's the best part of it.
So everybody knows who Stacia Mack is.
As they should.
And so a lot of people, they see the glitz, they see the glam, they see the Instagram, they see, you know, you in your managing position of one of the hottest artists in the industry. But like, what is your story? Where is it that you come from? What was your upbringing? What were the sacrifices that you made to get here? And what even led you to become a parent of 4?
Trigger warning, I was a teen parent. I came from the low-income housing of Chicago. I was sexually abused. I was homeless. I have been underappreciated.